Welcome to True Wellness with Dr. D, the podcast where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. D, and each week I'll bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your free copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey to true wellness right away. Now, let's get started. So, what do you do when you're told that everything in your life is about to change? What do you do when it's not information that you want to hear? Today's guest is Bron Watson, a nurse, entrepreneur, and founder of the Serenity Project. And after building businesses for years, 2 cancer diagnoses, she changed how she understood success, resilience, and what it actually means to live well. This conversation, it's not about pushing harder. It's about listening. It's about capacity. And it's about redefining strength. So thank you, Bron, for so much for being here with us today.
Look, thank you for having me. It's I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. So tell us your story.
Wow. Okay, where to start? So just context, yes, I'm in Australia. I have 5 amazing sons and I've had a dual career for well over 3 decades. So I've actually, I'm a nurse, registered nurse and nurse educator in one hand. And on the other hand, I've been running my own business for coming on 14 years this year. Wow. And yeah, I know, it's sort of weird. I never realized why I was doing these 2 random things. And they sort of coexisted throughout those years. But in 2017, which is where all the fun started, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And when you run your own business, and we had a great business. And so it was under my own name back then called Bron Watson. And, you know, from diagnosis, which was a Thursday, I was on the operating table for a mastectomy the following Wednesday. Wow. And there's no time to think. I really like in that time, looking back, that I was free falling. And then coming obviously from nursing and coming from the health profession, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly what was going to be coming next. Yeah. But when you're the person, it's a very, very different situation. And so then obviously became chemo and radiotherapy and chemotherapy and all of the things. And coming out the other side was 9 months later. And then it was about that time that I could actually start breathing. And I did start working on myself and learning a lot more about life, about how I had, and I don't believe that I did anything wrong, because I think what I mean is that bad things happen to good people. Because if I start blaming and shaming on myself, that isn't great for health. So where I came from was to work on, well, what was the things that I can change? What's the things that I can learn about my body? And so here I am doing all the work and doing the stuff and the things. And then we get to February 2023, and then I'm diagnosed with a form of blood cancer that is incurable. Now I'm brought to my knees. Now I am literally on my back patio looking at the trees and looking at the trees moving and praying for time. So when I say praying to whoever you believe in, but praying that please give me time to process, because I knew I didn't get the time last time. I didn't get a chance to be what I now call an active participant in my treatment. I was this passive bystander because I'd literally been whisked onto this train, and it was like the Shinkansen in Japan, the bullet train, and I'm flying along in this treatment. Right. That's what it felt like. And so here this time I wanted to not be in that situation. But again, when I heard those words the second time, I was going, right, Bron, we're starting chemotherapy next week, and you're going to be having a stem cell transplant, which is a bone marrow transplant. Extremely unpleasant, might I add. Right. And then we're here again. But during those years, I had found a book called, I can't remember the exact title, but it was about serenity. So the Serenity Prayer, which became my mantra, because it came, well, everyone may or may not know the Serenity Prayer, but it actually forms part of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes,
It's nearly,
yes,
it's
yes,
nearly 100
yeah.
years old.
Right.
But
Uh-huh.
it says very clearly, God grant me serenity to
Hmm.
accept what I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And
Mhm.
that is how I live my life. And I call them Serenity Now moments,
Yeah,
because my future is uncertain. But the thing is, there is just so much I can do that is within where I'm at. So one thing that I really have learned the hard way, which is I feel the feels, I can control the controllables, I can then pause, I reflect,
hmm,
and then I respond.
yes,
Whereas before, it's because you're literally in the vortex of fear and you are free falling, and
yeah,
you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know where you are, and
yes,
it's the most terrifying. It's terrible. I use the word terror because it is terrifying.
sure. Sure. And I mean, I think you pointed out some key things. It's in in the medical system, right? It is almost like you're given a diagnosis and then you are off on that train without that time to begin to reflect on what's happening, or even to decide if you're in alignment with whatever it is that you're told.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I remember when I was when I my first realization that there's something amiss in the medical system for me. It was, I was in college. It was my first year of college. I was exhausted. I was running on caffeine. I grew up with asthma and allergies my entire life. I was always at the doctor, but every time I'd go, I'd get the pink bubblegum stuff, the, the antibiotics. I'd get the injection in my rear end, I'd get the nebulizer treatment,
Mm,
and then I'd be okay, right? I mean, I always ended up back at the doctor's office 3 to 6 weeks later, but it was never like this was forever. And then when I was in college and I went because I was having all of these gastrointestinal issues, I remember the doctor, he handed me a script and he said, "Here, Danielle, you're gonna take this." And I was like, "Okay, how long?" And he's like, "No, you're just gonna keep taking this." And I was like, "Well, wait a second, there's something wrong here." And I was in
yeah,
that space where I was like, I don't know what's going on, why it's happening, what to believe. This authority figure in a white coat just told me that this is what I need to do, how I need to do it. And I'm
yeah,
just supposed to stand here and accept it. And so that began for me this whole space of questioning, like, okay, well, what is all this?
yes.
And so you do end up on this track and you're not sure even how to hit the brakes. So how did you
What breaks, Dee? What breaks?
exactly? How did you find the brakes? How did you say,
Oh,
well, wait
oh,
a
I've
second.
got breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say that empowered, right? Because where I come from, it's learnt. You can learn this stuff. Do we change the things we can't change? No. But
Mhm.
what we can do is, as I was saying to you earlier, is when it comes to understanding this situation, and I have a medical background,
Yes.
and I struggle. I know nothing about hematology. The breast cancer stuff, I could get my head around. Well, not that I could understand everything there, right? But
Sure.
hematology blood is a very different thing.
Hmm.
And I don't need to be a hematologist. I don't need to be a scientist. I can go and read the peer-reviewed articles. I can go do the research,
Hmm.
but I'm not qualified. When I say qualified, it's not about qualified. When I say qualified, I'm saying that I don't have the foundational understanding to understand what I'm reading.
Right.
So therefore, we find people who do.
Yes.
And so you surround yourself with people who can give you information. And
Yeah.
I am now an active participant. So I'm in the boat. I am not in the wake of a boat. So imagine
Right.
your health system is you, illness, that's the boat, and there's a doctor at the front, and you're in the wake going, Whereas now, the way
Yeah.
I view this, and this can be learned, is that I am the CEO of my body.
Mm,
I am the CEO. And under that CEO, I choose who's my executive team. So
yes.
my executive team is actually people in that functional space. My
Right.
beautiful GP who saved my life literally, because she's the one who started me. We found this disease, and she found it and doesn't remember even remembering why but she did. And she's an incredible woman. I love her dearly. And
Mhm.
then we have our specialists, and that is no disrespect to the specialists. This is no
Right.
disrespect to, it's not. It's just that I'm choosing for me how I want my treatment. Does it mean that I have to choose between Western medicine and alternative? The answer is an absolutely no.
Right.
You choose the parts that you need or want,
Yeah.
because I'll have people go, oh, you went down
I
that
did what?
path, did you? I'm going, what path? Oh, you mean Western medicine? Oh, right. Okay. So because it's not an either and an or, it's an and.
Mm-hmm.
It's a category, and that's my qualified experience. It's an and. But Western medicine sticks to their silo. If you go to a hematologist or looking at bloods, guess what? They just look at bloods. If you go to a cardiologist, they're only going to look at your heart.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas functional will look at the whole shebang and look
Right.
at the whole thing, and gut health
Yeah.
and all of the things. Put them all together. Now you've got Bron, the human being, not the human doing.
Yes.
We've got the being person as the front, and I'm the CEO of the human being, who's called Bron Watson. So when it makes the decisions, I had to learn that. I don't stand up to my doctors, but I ask questions. And if you
Yeah.
can't remember people, write them down. Like, I write stuff down all the time. Why? Because I can't remember a bloody thing. But
Yeah.
I'm working on that. But I'm working on that because I know that there has to be, am I brain damaged from treatment? You'd probably be able to tell me more than I can. But there's so much, that's where I'm at, is being. So if you feel like you're being sucked into the train of doom, because that's what it feels like, and that's unfortunately how the media painted the system, because it is
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I look at that as, thank you, scientists. Thank you for those who have dedicated their lives to
Yeah.
learning about health and disease and cancer. And thank you to the people who are functional, who are looking at the ecosystem of a human body. I thank them. So in the Cancer Institute, and if you're having an infusion, change your mindset on how you feel about what's going on. You've made the decision. Don't be angry at yourself. Don't be resentful. Go, and that's just what I do. And I'm not telling someone what to do. Just think about that. And I sit there, and even when I'm going, oh, what the hell? How could I possibly be? Why me? Then I go, thank you, Bron. That is just a wasted energy, because you can't control that right now.
Yes.
So I thank what's going on, so that it will do its job and then leave.
Yeah. I love that. There's some really important things that you just said that I really want to point out for our audience. And I mean, first is the fact that we need to ask questions, right? We do need to ask questions. There is no single person that knows all the answers to every single thing. And the more we can ask questions without feeling silly for asking questions, or like we're bothering somebody or something like that, the more we ask questions, the more clarity we can find. And when we have that clarity, it helps to allow us to choose a pathway or a destination or which way we're going to go. And you're right, there isn't this, you know, we shouldn't take this all or nothing kind of thinking. It isn't just all conventional, all alternative, but it is the melding of the two for what's right for you. I
That's
always,
the key there. That's the
yeah,
key there.
yeah. I always tell my clients, listen, if you need a hematologist, for example, like we're talking about here, that's not my area of specialty, right? I have a lens that I look through the world based upon my learning, my experience, my research. And that other person has a lens that they look through the world with their learning, their research, their background. neither one of us is necessarily wrong. We just are looking through different lenses. And when we can bring what we see through the different lenses together, then we can actually paint a very different picture. And so I think what you're saying is it is important to actually start to look at the bigger picture. I kind of use the example with my clients a lot. I'm like, we've got to like fly 30,000 feet above you and look down and say, okay, let's see everything that we can see from this vantage point versus kind of being stuck in the mud of all of it.
Yeah.
And no one person is the one person that we should always listen to, follow, and so on and so forth, because hey, we're human. We're none of us are perfect, and none of us know everything.
I couldn't agree more, and that's the key. And when I talk serenity, I'm literally talking about that pause, that moment where I am there, because I call it's all about healing. So I've been down the curative path of cancer. It was at my 5-year mark of breast cancer.
Yes.
That the doctor said, hang on, that neutrophil, it's been down for nearly 5 years. Let's go and talk. Let's go and see the blood doctor, the hematologist, and find out why is that neutrophil still down. And guess what? It's still down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is great. Okay, we'll deal with that. And it just happened to have found this diagnosis that none of us saw coming, because when it comes to myeloma or of cancers like that, they're called smolder. They can smolder for years and years, and no one will know. Yes. So I was diagnosed a lot earlier than a lot of people, because I just happened to have people who looked beyond their lens, and I'd love to lose the word cure, because when you're in the incurable lane, and you're seeing all the attention on the cure, and I'm not saying curling up your toes and dying, people, when I say incurable. What I'm saying is science right now can't get rid of it for life. But with that said, we can learn to live. I call it living through cancer. Cancer does not define me.
I love that.
It does not define me. But that's why I talk about a path of healing. This third space where we go between science and soul and evidence and perspective. Now, perspective I'm allowed to have because I've been in this industry for a long profession. Sorry, it's not an industry. A profession for a long time. So I have a perspective.
Sure.
You're not going to catch me dancing with an IV pole, because guess what? If I've got an IV pole attached to me, I'm not happy.
Right.
So it's really, I think it's very important for people, once the dust settles, once that major trauma, because it is so traumatic, the whole thing for me was traumatic. Once the dust starts to settle, that's when you go, what are the controllables?
Yeah.
What are the things that I can work on for me?
Yeah. Bron, what did your first diagnosis reveal about that version of strength that you were living from at that time?
I used to have a saying, which is at that time, which was, you don't know how strong you are until you have no choice. So a defining moment for me, makes me sick even thinking about it, was I'd had the second round of chemotherapy. So I was bald, and it took 12 days to be bald. And I had gone and so breast cancer chemotherapy is not nice. It's pretty rough. For those who've been through it, it's very rough. And I was recording a Facebook Live for my group, for my clients, because I said this was a belief that I had, that I was to deliver what I said I was going to deliver. The hell or high water, I was going to deliver this Facebook Live, and it was a Friday afternoon. And I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror as I was just hanging up my Facebook Live. And I looked at myself and I said, do you want to die? Do you want to die? Because if you keep this up, you're going to die. And I shut that mentoring business down overnight.
Yeah.
Because it was either me, I was 48, 5 children, and my youngest, he would have been what? What is he now? 16. So what was he? 8, 9? I don't know. Whatever he is. 10? I don't know. Whatever he was. Sorry, Ollie. Whatever you were, darling, but you were a little baby in my eyes, right?
Yeah.
So 10 boys, there's 5 boys, 10 years apart. So you're talking major trauma for these kids, no matter what age they're at.
Yes.
And here I am busting my ass for other people. I didn't put the effort into me. And I'm not. And so when it looks as the controllables, what I realized was that belief that I held like a badge, man, I will deliver what I'm going to deliver.
Yeah.
Now I will deliver what I'm going to deliver on my time, on my terms. And if it's not today, that's okay. The world is not going to win.
Yeah.
So I put everyone before me. That's what I thought good people did, was to look after their families, look after their children, look after their career, look after my patients, do all the things. Yes. And, my students, when I taught at university, make sure they're all okay. And that was that defining moment when I went, you know what, this is actually life-threatening.
Right.
It's very, and I made the decision with zero plan, might I add, of how we were going to financially go through the next however many long. So I had to very, very quickly go from having, clients all over the country to running Facebook workshops for 4 hours, because that's all I had in my arsenal that I could pull out within my own health. And I'd have chemotherapy on must have been a Thursday. I think I ran those workshops on a Wednesday because it was weekly chemo. It was ridiculous.
Yep.
Looking back, but I wasn't. Did I have to do that? Probably not. But it was the best I could do at the time.
Right.
And it was, and because it's not here about, because people have to live. We have to financially do whatever we need to do. But with that said, your health and your body and you are more important than anything on this planet. And your family, my family needed me. Right. And so that's the lesson. And so I actually call it the old Bron.
Say that one more time.
I call it the old Bron. That's the old Bron.
Got it.
Because the new Bron would never do anything like that. Thank you for the lesson that I have the time to be able to be that person.
Yeah.
Versus busting my ass for other people. I literally gave my heart and my soul to everyone else because I thought they needed more of me than I needed for me. And that's what I encourage with Serenity. That's what I learned, was that no.
Yeah. And I'll venture a guess here that those who are listening can certainly relate to that space where they are taking care of everybody else. They are producing. It's almost in our society, in our world today, it's like that production is like where our worth is housed, instead of in the real humanity that we have. Instead of presence, it's about production. And what I hear you saying is, hey, we've got to come back to presence.
Oh, like the whole hustle in business, and 10 times in 30 days and all the stuff and the things that happens in that entrepreneurial space online, it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Hustle will cost you in some way. And are you prepared to sacrifice yourself for something? And I learned the hard way on that because I didn't know any different.
Right.
I wished I'd learned all of this 14 years ago, because I would have built a completely different business. I might not have even built a business. Who knows? Because I did what I thought was right, because that's what everyone else was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was successful, I mean, for me, it was successful. And so doing these, I would have times in my gut going, Bron, this is so not right. Mm-hmm. And so I likened it to, building a business for me was like having a saber-toothed tiger. And, they're so cute and they're little, and you can pat the little kitty cat. And you're so cute. Oh, you want some more food? Oh, here we go. Oh, you're still hungry. Oh, my God, you eat a lot. Holy crap, get off my lap. You're so big now. And you build this amazing beast. It's called a saber-toothed tiger, and before you
Yes.
know it, you're on the damn tiger and you're holding on for your life.
Yes.
You're
That
on
kind of
there
sounds
holding
like
on.
business.
This is what I mean. This is your business, right? You're holding on for dear life and you
Yes.
cannot get off because you will break.
Right.
And that is not how we build a business. If we
Yeah.
built an ecosystem that was sustainable and that we loved on ourselves and we had strategies and systems in place, we wouldn't need all the productivity tools. We don't need to do lists. I put my arm up because I always imagine my list is on my arm. Like, you don't have to have 50,000 things on your list because that's what everybody else does. You
Yeah.
don't.
Let's talk about healing. Let's talk about that pathway because I know a lot of people actually think that resistance and in healing, it can actually also mean pushing through at all costs. Like we kind of take that business mindset, productive, successful woman mentality, and then we get a diagnosis or we find out something about our health, and then we shift that, and then we just start going like full
Another
speed ahead.
saber-tooth
The
tiger.
same thing, right? We see it all the time. A lot of women, they're like throwing darts at the dartboard, just trying to hit the bullseye relentlessly.
And for me, I can only talk for me, when you are so that's the right word. I'll describe it like trees. So in Australia, we have these beautiful, amazing gum trees. I'm sure you have beautiful big trees, and they're so amazing. They're so tall, and they're amazing, and they're strong, but they are so don't move. And then we have willow trees that move with the wind, and they just move with the wind no matter what the weather. They keep going. So the
Right.
relentlessness at the cost of your health, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, when you are wanting to be relentless and you push through because that's the system, and you are going to meditate at 5:10 because you've got up at 5 and you will meditate for 20 minutes. And then you will walk for 45 minutes because you must get your 10,000 steps in.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you failed.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to start again. Start what again? Anyway, so that's what I call relentless.
Yeah.
Or we can be resilient. Resilient goes with whatever's happening in the world, in your world.
Right.
Because the cost of relentlessness in Australia with those gum trees, they drop branches just like that.
Yeah.
And if you're under the tree, back in the day, they called them widow makers, because people, if you're under the trees and the branch fell, where I live on an acreage and beautiful trees, a huge branch just dropped the other day. Huge.
Yeah.
That's a classic example of relentlessness right there in my front yard.
Yeah.
Because you're so strong and you're so rigid that you're following a process that you think is right, irrespective of whether it feels right. Listen to your gut, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to
Yeah.
your gut, because your gut
Yeah.
will tell you.
Yeah.
And then, think of a willow tree. Think of Bron rattling here over in Australia, going with the breeze, because can't stop the breeze, but I can look at how I react, and I don't react, I respond.
Yeah. I love that because so responding requires listening.
Correct.
Responding requires being present.
Yes.
Responding requires you to tune into your body, to feel what's happening, to differentiate what's right for you versus what society just rewards.
That's correct. And, in terms of the reward, I don't worry about society. I don't worry about people's thoughts. I don't worry about whether I'm following the right plan, because the thing is, I am the beta test. I am the plan, and it's just around, for me, it's about energy. So,
Right.
the spoon theory, the lady, I can never remember her name. She wrote a book. I think she's a neuroscientist, and she wrote it about energy and spoons. So say we have 10 spoons of energy in our day.
Yeah.
Some days you have 10 spoons, you get up, like it's not even 7:00 in the morning here. You get up and they do the things, right? That's only one spoon, right? And you've got plenty of energy to get through the day.
Right.
But there are other days when I have 2 spoons.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to use one of them just to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got one spoon left for the entire day. I have to be, I don't like that word. I choose to be mindful about where I put that energy. So
Right.
for me, okay, you cancel stuff.
Yeah.
If you worry about letting down people, the person you're letting down is yourself, because
Yeah.
you're borrowing energy of your spoons. Energy is not infinite. It is not infinite. And we got to look after that energy.
We do.
And you know what? If it's a 2-spoon day, give yourself a break. It's okay. The world will not end. Well,
Yeah.
who knows? But you won't end.
Yeah. I mean, this comes down to what you often say, that the problem isn't about motivation or discipline, it's
Nothing.
about capacity.
100% capacity. It's not, discipline, absolutely. I don't question any of those things, but what I question, what for myself, is the capacity, and giving me the ability to choose, because that's what response is. Because when you listen, and to listen to your body, you want to be quiet. You want to
Yes.
be able to sit in the stillness, which
Yes.
sometimes can be very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the little shitty committee in your brain going off, oh,
Yeah.
Bron, you've got all these things going on. I'm not talking about that kind of stillness.
Yeah.
Because I go, thank you so much. I know I've got 3 baskets of
Mhm.
washing. Okay, because the world's not going to end today. And the kids are 16, and yes, they can figure out how to cook themselves some dinner. It's
Yes, they can.
okay. But it's
Mhm.
more about, how am I feeling?
Yeah.
I name that feeling. I name it.
Yes.
I'm in a bit of a turmoil, like in terms of where I'm at with, just a few bumps like anybody. And it's choosing to go, well, I can be worrying about the bloods that haven't been taken in February because they're not there yet.
Right.
Or I can choose to be where I am now. And that's
Right.
where I work hard on staying in the present. And one thing I love to say is, be where your feet are. I
Yes.
think Scott O'Neill wrote it. There's a book about it. It's called Be Where Your Feet Are. And,
Mhm.
I believe Oprah said it one day, but I don't know. But now Bron says it, be where your feet are.
All good. Yeah. Yeah. It's a
And
really important message.
it is so important, because you know what,
Yeah.
Bron is here in her house, in her study. I am not at the Cancer Institute. I'm not at my funeral. I'm not on holiday. I'm not anywhere. I'm right here. And
Yes.
that's where capacity begins and ends. And when those left-hand turn comes, for me, the left-hand turns come. So,
Right.
more often than not, when you're in this space, for me, remember, I can only talk for me. I can't talk for anyone else.
Right.
Is your brain, your brain fires, and the frontal lobe is shut off, and we're in survival mode because we're on the saber-toothed tiger. And
Exactly.
allowing it to know that you're in that space, and breathe through the next 90 seconds, because then
Right.
it's going to reset. So if you breathe through that 90 seconds of when that fear and that vortex of fear kicks in,
Yes.
and then sometimes those 90 seconds come into 3 hours because you're just joining them together, because your brain's really having a great old party. But when it
Yes.
starts to settle and the pause, that's when you can get the capacity, and that's where you can be where your feet are. And
Yeah.
I will literally tell myself, Bron, please stay here. Stay
Yes.
here with me. Stay here with me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so critical, because we want to, it's an innate response when we're in survival mode to have to fix and change and alter, rather than just get grounded and present. And you said 90 seconds. I don't know if you're familiar with 90 Seconds to a Life You Love by Dr. Joan Rosenberg, who's been on our podcast, but it's so powerful sitting in that space. And it creates a very different future and a very different reality of what's now when we actually do that, right? Otherwise, we're like off to the races.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listeners, go and find that podcast, because
Yes.
is that is the defining moment between now and
Mhm.
what's next.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah. How do you help people recognize when they're kind of exceeding their nervous system, when they're they're emotionally or spiritually, like they're like beyond their capacity. How do you help them recognize when they're in that space?
It's a great question, because if there's one thing I do know, I can't make anybody do anything.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I can do is demonstrate.
Yeah.
I can demonstrate in that moment. I can demonstrate. So when someone is in that state and they're beyond capacity,
Mm-hmm.
it's really around the pause, which is, you know what, all we're going to do, right, all we're doing it now is that we're just going to name whatever's going on. We're going to name that feeling.
Yes.
If that feeling is terror, great, put a name to it.
Yes.
Because when we can name to it, our brains can then start to process, because you can't fix it. God
Mm-hmm.
grant me serenity to accept what I cannot change. I cannot change that.
Yes.
But what we can do is literally breathe our way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe in that. If you can just literally, when you're breathing better, and I'm not a breathwork person, by the way, you find someone who is, we're going to find all the right people, because it's not Bron, but we breathe through it. And with that comes literally better oxygen, the right parts of your brain is on, and then we can start to work through what's next.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I used to play basketball, and I've mentioned this a few times across the airwaves. When we're playing basketball, we're on the team and Bron's the guard and and we miss the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're getting that timeout of 30 seconds. We can either look back, we can talk about what's just happened,
Yes.
or there's people who will go to the next game or the next season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But where we're at is, we can't fix what's just happened, but we can go,
Right.
what's next?
Yes.
So the
Yeah.
next play, literally the next play, it could be 20 seconds long, it could be 3 minutes long. It's not about that. It's about focusing our energy and our thoughts on the now.
Yes.
So when you are in that state of vortex of fear and things are just way too much, you know what? I just cry my way through that, because that's my emotions. I cry my way through the other day, a few weeks ago, my dear husband, I'm crying away, and he's trying to fix it. And I'm
Right.
going, thanks, my darling, but you know what? Just let me just go through it. I'm going to be fine in 5 minutes. I'm going to be fine,
Right.
but I
Right.
will be fine, but let me feel the feels.
Yes.
Don't hold it in, feel the feels. So when I get overwhelmed more often than I want, but it's not about what I want. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
I literally, for me, I might cry my way through it or whatever, journal my way through it, but naming that fear, naming whatever, not fear, naming that emotion is so powerful. And we combine that with breathing. We combine that with the 90 seconds. You're not going to remember all of that stuff, but if you are just right there
Right.
and feel it, a cancer diagnosis is so guttural. It hits you so deep. And it's not the end of the world if we focus on healing, because everyone can go on a path of healing. Imagine your phone. Here it is. Here's my phone. And I put GPS in my GPS. I'm going to put healing.
Yeah.
And there's my blue line. I talk about the blue line.
Yes.
So then you get a left-hand turn. And what happens when there's a roadblock on your GPS?
Yeah.
It'll find a way around it.
Yes.
So trust yourself that you are on that path of healing, and you don't know how you're going to get there, but you know you will.
Yeah, I love that. You know, Bron, I think about how some people, they get stuck, right? They're given a diagnosis, they're given a prognosis, and they get trapped there. And I mean, there's actually scientific research that has been done that shows, if you're given a number and you take that number, like that number will manifest.
Yeah. I was given a number. I don't talk about the number.
Yes.
It wasn't a nice one, just so you know. And you can't unhear it.
Right.
But at that time, because this is what medicine does, I wasn't asked whether I wanted the number. Some people want to know. But guess what? Unless you've got God sitting in front of you or someone who can have a crystal ball, believe in what you will, nobody knows the answer.
Exactly.
And science will only go so far. So I say you are not your prognosis. And I'm not saying we're going to cure and you're going to be having a spontaneous remission. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is if you start to back yourself in the moment, that you don't know. Because if you're so worried about what's that, it'll never happen. So with a prognosis, when you are given a prognosis, and it's terrible, and remember, I've had two. Yes. I've had two, and I've had one with an iPad. That was fun. You know, all the data gets put in, and they'll go, this is your prognosis. No, that's a diagnosis. Here it is. You've got, what it was, a 90% chance of survival at 5 years. Well, tick, done that for breast cancer. But that's terrifying because you can't unhear it.
Right.
But what you can do now is I don't talk timelines. I refuse to talk numbers and prognosis. Why? Because science is one part of the silo.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
one part of the silo based on their evidence, which I'm grateful for and I'm thankful for, but that's just one part of the picture.
Yeah.
And the other, there's a big picture, there's a big part in the middle, and it's called me. It's called Bron. They haven't taken me into consideration. And you know what, guys? I was not this person. I was not this resilient person. I've had to learn to be it. Why? Because I have so many reasons to live on this earth for as long as I can.
Yeah. Think about this gift that you're sharing right now with people who are sitting at the edge of their chairs just listening, right? And maybe they're in a similar place to where you are and they're not sure where to even go with it in their mind. This is a gift.
Oh, thank you. And I do sometimes on my dark days go, why are you doing this? Yeah. Why are you sharing this stuff? Because the reason why is that I've had this very random road of 30-something years come to this place in time where I'm able to share it. And if someone takes away something, great. If it resonates, great. But if it doesn't, that's still great.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay because it is what's right for you. It's just, and if anyone has a question, if they get stuck, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help them through that moment in time because we are not doing this alone. You don't have to be alone.
Yes.
And it sucks. It just sucks so bad. But at the same time, that at least I am having the opportunity in my life to be able to be the best. I hate that coaching thing, that best version of myself. But it's so true. And it's so true. And it doesn't mean like, you know, relentlessness it can really do. It's a ticking time bomb, relentlessness. But resilience, exactly the same situation, the same everything in front of you. It's a different path. And that's why I talk healing. I don't talk healed. Because it's a forever, and you'd know in what you do, it's a never ending journey or work. I don't like even journey or work. Still hate all those words, and I'm coming out with them. But what I'm saying is that you want to find the people who can help you make the decisions for you to then go, yep, that's where I am right now. And that alone, the decision of backing yourself is far, far greater than anything else out there.
Yeah.
You know, live your life, embrace it. And, and because sometimes a lot of people live in their heads and they're not connected to their hearts.
I can certainly attest to doing that.
You know, we want to wake up that vagus nerve. We're going to come on, little baby, wake it up, come on. And so it's literally, and that's science.
Yes,
but it's also the soul. We want to wake it up, and then find a space where we can feel the feels. It's uncomfortable when you're crying in front of your husband and he's trying to fix you.
Right.
And I said, it's okay. Just love me through it. If there are people who are carers and who have loved ones, just love them through it. Right. Because you cannot, even though your heart is, you just wish you could change it and wish you could fix it. and finding them information when they don't have capacity to read. Don't take offense. It's just that
Yeah.
they're at capacity. Their energy is, their spoons are taken for the day. But
Yeah.
one day you keep loving on that person, you keep loving them through it.
Mm-hmm.
They will, I pray for themselves. I pray that they find their own serenity. And it's a moment, by the way, people. It's not a whole day.
Well, I want to dive into that, Bron, because you call it the third space,
I do.
right? Where science meets soul. How do you, let's talk about the Serenity Project. Let's talk about that third space. What is that?
Well, that's a great question. So the Serenity Project is, I am the Serenity Project. I'm the beta test, meaning that back in 2016, this is how long ago it all started, I wanted to write a book. And I wrote this chapter in a book about how I got on a plane, and I'm thinking that I'm going on a holiday to Hawaii. And I get on the plane and they're going, welcome aboard, Bron. We're off to Kathmandu in Nepal and you are climbing to base camp. Hooray, lucky you. And I'm going, hang on, I didn't want, what? I'm on the wrong plane. And this whole chapter is about how I'm in Kathmandu and I'm walking to base camp in flip-flops because I thought I was going on holiday
Right.
in Hawaii, and the journey of what it was like to take the wrong path, but know that my life depended on getting to base camp. And the trials and the tribulations and finding a guide, and your guide can be it can be soul, it can be whatever you want your guide to be. But,
Yeah.
and then the last bit, it's 5,500 words. Didn't even know what I was doing. And I'm finally there, and everyone's struggling. And remembering, if you ever climb to base camp, a lot of people are airlifted out because their lungs can't handle it because there's not enough oxygen. They just can't handle it, right? And we're all struggling in, and all the people who started with me on the plane aren't there. Half of them aren't there anymore, and others are so injured, and we're all struggling in and think, wow, we got here. That's the Serenity Project. It's about providing a space where we can combine science and soul, and we can combine evidence and perspective. It's not just me rattling on. It's actually based on good things and lived experience, because I am in a very unique situation. I mean, they do call me rare, but it's not. I don't think it's a compliment, to be honest. But anyway, so that's where Serenity. It's a community. It's a space where people can connect and learn how to find their own healing. So, as I said, I'm not here to teach, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. We don't have checklists. We don't check off anything. I write in pencil. Why? Because a left-hand turn can come, but guess what? We become flexible. So fear, and so we talk about feelings and learning how to handle those feelings with practical solutions in the moment. And my serenity is not your serenity. So where I'm going and how I'm living and feeling isn't yours. But my wish for everyone is that they find their serenity. And it can be a moment. And moments, I had specialists and doctors and nurses say to me, Bron, you've got to make memories. Well, you make memories. I'm great, but thank you for checking in. You got to make memories. Oh, that's lovely. Cheers to that. But the moments actually make the memories. And I've got a saying, I don't know, I've got a coffee cup here. I don't know if you can read that. Where we go. Make every day count.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I'm on about. And so if we collectively, because in our health system in Australia, when you're looking at the care given to patients, there's not enough trauma awareness around. There's not enough understanding and education around dealing with that person in the moment. We become very clinical because we're siloed. Remember, we're all siloed. So the big ethos behind where Serenity Project is to become a place and a movement so that we can speak to people who make decisions in the way that care and money is allocated to education, is that everyone can heal, because not everyone can cure. So if we focused on healing And we focused on providing services for that, and that I didn't have to go and research, because half the time I don't know what I'm remembering. I don't know half the time. I don't know what I'm researching. So we've got to find people who know what to do to find the people, So Serenity is about a community. It's about finding a place where that person, no matter what, can get on a path of healing one moment at a time.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And what I hear in Serenity is it's a stark contrast to what most people try to do with uncertainty, right? They try to take and control.
That's the what.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the control we're letting go. Like I would think, how do you let go?
Right.
What does letting go mean, Bron? You just got to let it go. I would if I could, wouldn't I? But what if we just let it be? What if we just named it? What if we just named that moment or that situation that's going on? And we didn't try to fix it, but we just named it, and we looked at that we can control the controllables. If we can focus on what we could control within that,
yes,
and the rest will be taken care of. That's what letting it be means. Because the control is relentlessness, and that's where it's a lie. That hustle, the whole thing it's just a big lie, and it's no good for anyone, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes you, when you try to control it, it takes you right out of the present moment, right away.
Right away, and that is a very big danger, I believe, because when you do have uncertainty, you want to find normal. You want it to normalize it. You want to go. I just want to. You'll hear people say, I just want me back.
Yeah.
Well, that is gone. But there is such the opportunity of the me now, and the opportunities and the healing space. If you allow yourself to see it and live it and feel it one moment at a time, it's all, and it's not woo-woo. It's not pie in the sky. It is practical in the moment. And then we layer on education, we layer on capacity, we layer on talking to Dr. D, we lay on all of the things to improve our best versions of being a human being, not a human doing.
Yes, exactly. I got to remind myself sometimes, hey, you got to
do. Oh, me too.
Do, not do. Do, not do.
Do, not do. But that's the thing. If that little tiny moment in time and you notice that, sweet, you're on a healing path.
Yes, exactly. Now, you've said that serenity is it's not something you can hand someone, right? And honestly, you said what's worked for you wouldn't fit in someone else's life anyway.
That's right.
What does it look like for someone to begin defining serenity on their own terms?
The best way to start that is just to be where your feet are. If you start with where you are literally in now.
Yeah.
And you consciously open your mind to the now.
Yes. And
you look around and you go and make yourself your favorite beverage. Don't hit the booze, people, but your choice. Your choice.
That's escaping, right? That's escaping. That's not present.
You can do whatever you want, but really, in all seriousness, it's just the moment and the gratitude. Even when there's nothing, when you feel that there's nothing to be gratitude for. Well, thank you, phone, for technology, because at least I can mindlessly scroll right now. Or I might be being facetious, but what I'm saying is be where your feet are. If nothing else in your day, that brain switches on enough to be conscious, to bring it into the conscious, and then be where your feet are. Yeah. Where's your feet, Bron? Look at your feet. What are they doing? What are you feeling? Well, you've got shoes on. Well, that's something to be grateful for. You can go and drive your car. Well, that's something to be grateful for. And it's just, you're thinking, oh, Bron, that's ridiculous. It's not ridiculous, because what we're doing is we're bringing ourselves back to where we should be, which is the now, the present.
I love that. And there's so much in what you've said. It's so powerful. I mean, first of all, just getting present to where your feet are brings you back into the now. Like, oh, I feel my feet. They're right there. Like, here we are now. But the the other piece that I think is really important, and I love the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and
Yes.
I love I think all of our listeners should read Bernie Siegel's book. What is it? Medicine, Magic, and Miracles.
I
And
wrote that down. I'm about to go and order it because I'm
there you
old. I'm
go.
old school. I do have a Kindle, so just
Yeah,
relax. But I do. But I like to feel it. Why? Because then I'm in the present. I can
yeah,
feel those
exactly.
pages, and I can feel
Yeah,
the story come through from that author, because that's what they're
absolutely.
doing. They are loving on us, and let's love
Yeah.
on them back and go, I really love and appreciate your work.
Yes. Yes, but I think there's profound messages there, right? That it doesn't matter what is being thrown at us. It matters what we take in, right? It matters what we do with what it is that we take in. And from what I hear you saying today, that's very powerful, is that like, hey, okay, acknowledge it. Don't like bury it, stuff it
Mm.
down. Don't like avoid it. Don't like go off into the future, right? And have anxiety over it. Just be there with it. And I think that shifts so much.
Yeah, yeah, and feel it, because sometimes it's not going to feel good, and you will cry,
Yeah.
or
And
you will
crying's
be, or you
okay.
will be angry, or you will be whatever. It's
Yes.
whatever that emotion is. Give it a name
Yes.
for you, whatever your name is for
Yeah.
it. I name it. I help people name their feelings, because then we know what we're dealing with, and then we can plan the next play.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bron, for someone listening who feels maybe misaligned, who feels exhausted, who is maybe even just quietly overwhelmed. I mean, it could be with their health, it could be with a diagnosis, it could just be with life in general. What's the smallest, kindest place for them to start?
As in the moment of that overwhelm,
Mhm.
is acknowledgement that you are doing the best you can with what you
Mm.
have.
Yeah.
Okay, you haven't read the book. Okay, that's all right. It's okay. And just the kindness. If someone was standing in front of you and they shared how they were feeling, and they were actually sharing the feelings that you have,
Hmm.
what would you say? Would you say, oh, suck it up, get on with it? No, you wouldn't. You would put your arms around them and go, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I
Hmm.
am so sorry you're feeling what you're feeling. And thank you for sharing it with me.
Yes.
That's what you'd do. So guess what? Say it to yourself. Be kind. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And God grant you serenity to accept what you cannot change, the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference in that moment.
Beautiful. That's so powerful. So perfect. Ron, tell us a little bit more how people can follow you, learn more about your work and what you're up to. I know that you've got a group that you run as well. Can you share that with our audience, please? I know we'll have it all in the show notes, but if you don't
I
mind.
think, look, you know what? If there's things that have resonated, look, hop on over to serenityproject.com.au. We have a weekly newsletter. Just check that out. You know, I'd love to get to know you on socials. I'm just there as Bron Watson me, or whatever. Bright pink shirt. Just look out for that. So connect, ask questions, because you're not alone. Like, even on our website, I've got a little link where you can actually, if you don't want to type, you can talk to me.
Hmm.
Talk to me. Tell me how you're feeling, because you're not alone. And sometimes you just need sometimes you just need that acknowledgement back. And
Yes,
because you know what? I know I can't fix it,
right.
but I can love on you and I can hold you when you can't hold yourself, because that's all I wished I had, was for someone to hold me when I had no strength to hold myself. And that's what it's about. So if that resonates, and you know someone who could need, may benefit from that, come and give it a follow, or come and say hi. So just, that's the thing. We collaborate, we work together, because by one person supporting another, by the time you know it, you've got a lot of people joined together.
Yeah. Got a whole community.
And that is very, very powerful. And that is how we bring change, because we need people to understand and are in alignment. It's not an alignment, fine, don't worry about it. It's not about that. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. So, if you're interested, I'd love to hear from people. I'd love to hear how they're going, because it can suck bad some days.
Yeah. Thank you so much for what you're doing out in the world. Thank you so much for the space that you're providing for people, especially people who are in what might be considered a difficult time and not knowing how to navigate that. So truly, truly, your work is a blessing. And I thank you for being here and for sharing it with our audience.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And with that, everyone, we look forward to seeing you for the next episode of True Wellness with Dr. D. This is Dr. D reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace the journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.